Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca and me and my partner Alexis are going to be discussing more on the Ricci versus DeStefano case revolving employment and promotion practices at a firefighter station in New Haven, Connecticut. Just to reiterate, we are arguing in favor of Ricci, which consisted of the 18 firefighters that were denied promotions to captain and lieutenant positions. This is the rebuttal video, but the link to the introductory video will be posted below if anyone needs to revisit. So just as a quick overview, we're going to do a recap of claims made by both our team as well as our opponents, just to kind of organize things since our last videos. We're also going to be proposing a rebuttal to our opponents' claims, discuss what the final ruling was and the impact from that, and also debrief on the entire legal debate project itself with a little bit of reflection at the end. So in our introductory video, me and Alexis talked about the case's background and defended Ricci for several reasons. We know that the test produced undesirable results, with whites disproportionately outweighing minorities in terms of who was eligible to get promotions. However, IO Solutions consider the promotion test to be valid and objective. The CSB and the firefighting station knew this, but still decided to throw out the test results. Because the tests were deemed valid, throwing them out was considered to be on the basis of race, a protected class and prohibited under Title VII. It is also important to note that it is not legal to try and meet a quota of certain demographics in your workplace. You cannot and should not hire on the basis of anything besides job performance or capability. So some of the points made by our opposing team was that whites were in fact passing these promotion tests more so than minorities, and DeStefano wanted to avoid an adverse impact violation to minorities, especially African Americans, because almost all of these promotions would have been given to whites. Our opponents also emphasized that their client DeStefano might have realized that everyone comes from different backgrounds and that perhaps the test did not accurately reflect this, and that could have been a reason for throwing them out. Just as Alexis and I defended Ricci on the basis of Title VII, our opposing team also defended their client with the same law, but applying it to the minorities that did not pass the promotion tests. An important point that they made was that DeStefano had a moral obligation to disregard the results, because the results did not fairly represent minorities, saying that all men and women put their lives on the line, and it is only fair that they be equally represented.
So our response to the opposing team's argument is that they had mentioned all men and women put their lives on the line, and it is only fair that they be equally represented. Piggybacking off of that statement, we firmly agree with what they said. However, not in the context of the equal representation being just for African Americans, as they reiterated. We believe that if we truly are going to apply Title VII, as well as the other laws mentioned that pertain to this case, then shouldn't our client Ricci have been given the opportunity to have been promoted as well? If we are going to utilize the evidence of the test results to validate why DeStefano decided to discard the examinations, as Rebecca mentioned earlier, the promotion tests were deemed valid and objective by IO Solutions. Not only that, but it is illegal to hold a number of positions or fill a certain quota for demographics, as she had also mentioned. Therefore, what the opposing team fails to realize is that Ricci was just as equally discriminated against. Remember in this case that the majority of firefighters that did well in the test were mostly white and a few Hispanics. DeStefano realized this so-called flaw in testing and felt that it permitted them to throw out the test results because there were no African Americans that ranked in the top numbers. Throwing out the test results prevented our client Ricci from advancing and being promoted because of the so-called flaw. And even though DeStefano meant to have good intentions in protecting the minorities that did not do well, intentions in this case do not matter. And though the opposing team mentions DeStefano possibly discarded the test results due to their client realizing everyone comes from different backgrounds and walks of life, this subjective statement still does not excuse the fact that our client was just as discriminated against as their client. In saying all that, the final ruling of the Supreme Court was in favor of our client, Ricci. This decision was based off of a 5-4 vote. The reasoning that the court ruled in favor of our client was because they agreed that the white and Hispanic firefighters were unfairly denied promotions because of their race. Justice Anthony Kennedy, who delivered the opinion of the majority, wrote, "Fear of litigation alone cannot justify the city's reliance on race to the detriment of individuals who passed the examinations and qualified for promotions. Discarding the test results was impermissible under Title VII." The impact this decision had on future cases still seems to divide people. Some say that if the court were to rule in favor of DeStefano, they would have shown that rejecting examinations based on racially disproportionate results is a permissible strategy for avoiding Title VII lawsuits. In contrast, others state that ruling in favor of our client, Ricci, shows that race-neutral practices with race-related goals may be constitutionally suspect. As a result, courts would essentially be scrutinizing employers every time they made a race-conscious decision. Despite these divided views, the fact still remains that DeStefano did not provide enough evidence to explain the reasoning behind discarding the test results, and our client was given the justice that they deserved. Now we'll transition to the final portion of our presentation, which will include the debrief and reflection. And so we originally did not agree with the ruling that the Supreme Court had initially made in favor of our client Ricci. The reason we did not agree with the ruling was for the same reasons that the opposing team presented. However, after doing thorough research, Rebecca and I realized that no matter what decision the City of New Haven made, they had the opportunity to be sued regardless of if they kept the examinations or not. Also, we eventually agreed with the ruling because of the facts of the laws that pertain to this case, and the City of New Haven's decision to toss the results based on the statistics rather than basing it off of job performance. Overall, Rebecca and I handled our different working styles quite well. Where I lacked, she prospered, and vice versa. We both can agree that we would not change anything different about how we approach this project because we clicked instantly and tended to be on the same page when it came to how we wanted to execute the beginning and ending of this debate. The only important thing to note is that the diversity between us truly made us a stronger group. The reason being is because myself being African American and Rebecca being white, when collaborating at one point during the debate, we opened up about the pros and cons of being treated differently because of the color of our skin, and if anything, it not only aided in how we viewed this case to understand both sides of Ricci and DeStefano, but it established a friendly connection that we presume will grow beyond this semester. We truly appreciate you all for listening, and if there are any questions, please feel free to post them below, and have a great day.